you may not know that I have Pontiac Cred. You may think I'm totally crazy, or just some random yahoo that thinks he can go faster than a poncho. Well, allow me to explain. Is my yellow one, the 1970 Pontiac LeMans. It is a 455 powered 1970 Pontiac LeMans, turbo 350, 336 rear gears, and a Pontiac 10 bolt. Motor has been completely redone. This was actually built a number of years ago by a friend of mine, Joe Coben, over at Performance Research, and was one of the last motors that Bob Proffitt was involved in, but it is a beast. Made 515 foot-pounds of torque through the crappiest intake manifold I could put on it, just a normal old Edelbrock, and through the original Quadrajet. So, very, very healthy machine. I don't know exactly what it runs in a quarter, but let's just say it's quick. It also plays one of the best drum solos you could ever ask for. This is my 1971 Pontiac LeMans, the green one. This is my nice one, the show car. It's basically all stock, all original 1971 LeMans Sport. Still sporting basically all of its original looks. Still sporting the green on green on green interior. It has not really been upgraded at all. We left this one pretty stock. Now the motor had been refreshed, but it is still stock pistons, stock rod, stock crank, just honed and regasketed, put back together again and painted. However, unfortunately, as you can tell from the stance of the car, it's missing an engine, which is less than great, but I have the engine. It's inside. This is the 1970 350 block. As you can see here, got all the gaskets and bits and pieces we need. It has recently been rebearinged, but we are going to go ahead and put new bearings in it. You can see it did have a little bit of scuffing on those bearings. But we're going to put this guy back together again, and it's going to live once again with these heads. Again, nothing special, nothing crazy, nothing really done to these. It's just original stock set of Pontiac 350 heads. This is the gray one, the 1968 LeMans, the race car that I brought up to you guys in the original video on this channel. And as you can tell, I do have a little bit of a Pontiac problem. I've been up and down this road a time or two. I also have a lot of experience on my side. I happen to have a lot of really good friends that kind of know this platform pretty well, that have built a number of Pontiac motors in various machine shops in various states. So the options are definitely there. The advice is there, the knowledge is there. It's just a matter of, we got to figure out how to make this thing run a 12 flat, maybe 1180s, which is doable. It's definitely doable. Way, way long ago, if you look back in the super stockers, there were people that were pushing Pontiac 350s, like a 350 HO, into the low 12s, high 11s, reasonably well. And that was with old school tech. That was with old school super stock rules. There's a lot of options that we can lean on, that we can be able to get this sucker running at that exact same kind of speed. Now, it's not a Firebird, it's a LeMans, but it doesn't have much of an interior, and it is an automatic. So I'm probably gonna lean on my friends at Vicker Performance to redo this trans and make it ready for what we're gonna do. Then we put in it whatever we need to in the rear end to be able to make the gearing make sense. I'll reach out to some friends I've got in the torque converter world and see what we can work out on that end. So there's really all the options on the table to make this work. There's just nothing left to do but to do it. And I also just locked myself out of the shop because it's really windy and the wind just closed my door. So you see, I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I do have a little bit of experience in this platform. I think we can do this. I know we can do this. As a team, we can succeed. You know, end goals for this car, I like the idea of being able to get it up and running for Bob. I think the idea here is fun. I think it's going to be motivational. I think it's going to make me go back there and actually work on that car and probably find a spot to be able to work on it on the weekends, so it's not intruding on our day-to-day work here at the shop. I think this is definitely within reach. If we're talking iron-headed, high compression with race gas, an aggressive roller camshaft, intake, single carb, I think this is totally doable. I think we can get there. Now, the trick is with the Pontiacs, they're not super happy with lots of revs. That's very true. The 350 is a pretty basic platform, to be honest with you. It's definitely not what most people would choose to build a powerful Pontiac out of. As I alluded to in the first video, all of the Pontiac pieces, essentially, cross over between the 350, the 400, and the 455. So most people tend to build a 400 or a 455 because it's basically exactly the same expenses. You're going to have all the same costs, all the same bits and pieces and parts. So why would you ever build a 350 versus a 400 or a 455? And that's a legitimate question to ask. But it's honestly part of the reason that I want to do this is because it's something that most people don't do. I already have that 350 block, so I don't have to go hunting for a block. I don't have to be able to go down that path of playing around on Facebook or Craigslist and wasting tons of time doing it, and then spending another couple $100 or $1,000 for a block. And then I still honestly don't know exactly what I have as far as quality goes. You can do some visual inspection, but you really never know unless you're taking everything you could take to look at the block, whether or not what you're buying is going to be good or not. And that's one of the tricks of buying old stuff. Anything I'm going to be buying is going to be 1973 or older, because I don't want to buy one of the thin-walled later generation blocks. So, you know, you're up a creek. I know that one has run. I've had it running. I've driven the car a couple of moments. I don't hear anything wrong with it. It doesn't seem like it's bad. The oil that came out of it wasn't sparkly. So I think it's going to be a base to work from. But in order to be able to prove that, the next thing I've got to do is get that car in here, yank that motor out, tear it apart, and see what we got. You know, if you're thinking, let's bore this thing out 30 over, 60 over, something like that, there's plenty of cylinder wall there to work with. We're going to have to figure out a piston because most people do not have higher compression pistons for 350s because, again, people don't build high-performance piston or high-performance 350s. Now, the other option I would have would be I could go down the route of doing a stroker kit in one of these things, which do exist. Technically speaking, Butler does make a 350 stroker kit. I don't think Ohio Crank makes one, and I'm not sure if anybody else does with a 350 journal size. But that's an option. However, just to get the extra inches, I'm going to be spending $1,000 to $2,500 for a stroker kit. You know, figure that's at least $1,000 extra, because if I want to do aftermarket rods, aftermarket pistons, I'm going to have to do that anyway. The question is whether or not I do an aftermarket crankshaft. And if I do an aftermarket crankshaft and I do put a stroker kit in that 350, that's going to open up a lot of options as far as more torque, better components to be able to handle what we're looking for, and maybe that's an option. But I got to plan that that's $2,500 right off the rip, and it also kind of gets away from it being a 350 Pontiac build. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does doing a stroker kit make sense? Does that sound like cheating? I feel like it kind of maybe feels like cheating. It's kind of like comparing a 383 small block Chevy to a 350 small block Chevy. Yes, technically speaking, same thing, but you're kind of cheating a little bit. I don't know. I think I want to do this the old school way, but I am going to do probably rods and pistons in it, to be honest. because you know, we're working on stuff that's 50 years old. So there's not anything that I'm going to be touching that's not going to be already gone through unbelievable amounts of heat cycles and wear and tear and that kind of thing. You know, upgrade rod bolts, better wrist pins. There's a lot of new technology, new stuff that we can throw at this thing to make it be able to turn RPMs better. Obviously, we're going to get pretty aggressive on a camshaft, and we're going to probably get a little aggressive on the compression ratio. And I think it's totally there. There are some online calculators that you can do based on the weight of the vehicle, what kind of power levels you need, and a lot of that's in the ball game of what I'm thinking it's going to be. So we're going to see what's what. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm going to get involved in this, and I'm going to start with the next video, getting that poncho pulled in here and pulling that motor out, and then we're going to tear it down and we're going to see what we got. And hopefully it's buildable, and hopefully it's in good shape, and we'll go from there. So this is going to be a whole build series. I'm going to do my damnedest to stay on top of this and keep motivated. It will be an evenings and weekends thing, so it does not involve my day-to-day work life that I do here. Once I get that block torn down and cleaned up, we'll see where we are, and then we'll make our decisions from there. But at least at this point in time, Project 350 Pontiac is moving forward, and we'll see where she ends up. I hope you guys are interested in this kind of thing. Again, welcome to Automotive Adventures with Austin. This is my little side project, the sister channel of Lucor Automotive, where I'm just going to showcase my personal stuff, my personal projects, stuff I'm involved in, race cars and road trips and the stuff that it is that I do that's not going to really truly fit very well with the whole shop thing. We're pretty dang busy around here, so I don't want to intrude my stuff on top of the YouTube, on top of the Lucor channel. So if you're willing to put up with me personally and you're interested in my personal projects, welcome to Automotive Adventures with Austin. So I'll see you next time, guys. I might be working on this thing tomorrow, depending on whether or not I end up buying another car tomorrow. We'll see. Take care. Bye-bye.